And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week.
You know that poor people don't like AEW.
And you know that there's flutes in the chat. So these guys talked about the go-home show. Let's hear them talk a little bit about Revolution itself before the Stinkashay controversy. Right here, we got Dave talking about, before it went down, Revolution going up against the Academy Awards. And Dave's there. He's like, will it affect the pay-per-view buys? No. Nobody watching the Academy Awards is going to watch AEW and the Rizzler. They didn't even put Hulk Hogan on the thing, on the memoriam thing, let alone AEW. So no, it's not going to. And Dave just lies about the pay-per-view buys, which we're about to expose him for doing as well. So stay locked in.
Like, I don't know what it's going to do from a buy rate perspective. Like, I expect it to do very well. I don't know what very well means right now.
I mean, 140 plus would be very well, but I would say it should be up from, I mean, it should be the highest since All In. But the one thing is, it is head-to-head with the Academy Awards, and that's, I mean, I actually checked. Last year's Academy Awards was the most watched television show in the United States of the entire year that was not an NFL football game. Yes. So well over 20 million people. So it's, I mean, other than going against an NFL game, I mean, it's the toughest thing. I mean, it's actually tougher than, remember that night when we were at the pay-per-view that went against like a Game 7 in the NBA.
Yeah.
And they kept the show going so long. I think it was in Vegas, right? Where
yeah.
the show went an extra hour and he kept like all the key matches late because he was hoping to get like.
Now remember, the Academy Awards started at the same time as AEW, and then AEW ended 2 hours after it. And on Twitter, in the Twitter sphere, everybody who was watching the awards was like, this went too long. That was the consensus. So Tony Khan went 2 hours longer than that.
Eyes like 3 hours into the show, and I guess it worked, because he's told that story so many times about, the buys after the NBA game ended, and that's why he ran the show so long, so it paid off. And so this one, though, I mean, it's pretty much going to be head to head. I mean, I guess there'll be some, they'll probably go, well, they will go longer, I think, than the Academy Awards.
Like, how did he know that too? Well, I mean, you can just predict it. Look at all those bodies on that poster. And so Dave gives his overall recap. Well, before that, let's just dive into it. Bryan is trying again. He did not like the MJF match. Again, he's maturing. Bry's like, I guess this is growing up. Yeah, I guess this is growing up.
Bryan.
Right? Because he is finally growing up and maturing out of this garbage.
I did not like this.
Contradicts my argument that the old heads are starting to watch, but it's not the old heads. It's just the people who got older with AEW the last 7 years who kind of it's skewing older is all I'm saying. Okay. The people who are into it, it's going to skew older. Younger people are going to stream more, but they're also going to illegally pirate it more. There's no combating that. And they're also going to fall off and be interested in other
match.
Dave never addresses those things.
I was actually really enjoying it for about 20 minutes. But by the time it was over, it was just like, I hated it. They did the syringe in the cheek. We had the barbed wire. We had the broken glass. We had barbed wire. We had light tubes. We had a spot where they both got thrown off the stage through like a landmine. This was way too much. This was like when you have all of the crazy we've ever seen in AEW, and then it's like, we got to find a way to make it 2 times crazier.
And that's the problem. And then what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a match where people are shoving pineapples up their assholes and someone's going to fall off and die or something. And I pray that doesn't happen. I really do. But how come Bryan now sounds like Jim Cornette? Okay, he sounds like Jim Cornette.
Learn Meltzer Inferno.
Because this is what everybody knew was going to happen. You can't. What did they do on Dynamite? They flipped a car in a I'm all for it. The Attitude Era, they blew up cars and shit. But when Gabe Kidd fell out of the thing, they laughed at it because they don't care. They don't give a fuck because it comes across goofy. It's poorly done. Nobody's serious. Nobody takes Darby Allin serious. He gets zero reaction. He gets absolutely zero reaction when he comes out now. And everybody tried to warn them of that this was going to happen.
From Phil Marks of PWT. He says, I told you so.
So this match was wild and crazy, and it was like a death match and a collar match all rolled up into one. And then they did the needle spot way too early, and they don't even do it with psychology. You shove the needle through his cheek, then squirt the juice out through his cheek. Oh, it makes a cool effect. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. So, like, if you injected him with some shit, then his legs went numb. Like, I've seen that done in a death match where it's like, okay. But, and even that's stupid as fuck. But it's like, okay, like, why would you just stab him with a needle and squirt shit out? That's like a felony offense, pal. You know, it just takes it to this whole other level where it becomes just phony and cheesy and stupid. So the next thing they're going to do is gussets. And then Darby's going to convince Tone to let him do something so fucking stupid that you won't be able to take back. And I get it. ECW would do shit. Yeah, they took it too far. Everybody agrees, like, okay, one of the worst things that happened was like the mass transit and like the scaffold, the shit with New Jack, where he was like really trying to kill people. You know, that's the level you're going to have to take it to because you're working as if you're trying to do that. So what's the end game here? And then once you tame it back, are you going to lose some of the people who hung on? Meanwhile, you said fuck a casual and turned off all the people who would give it. They're just going to call it WWE Light. Tone just booked himself into a corner, and there's nowhere to go from here. And also, you see the girls on the show doing some of the same shit, and then you see on Dynamite, Darby Allin and Gabe Kidd do some shit, gets no reaction, a coffin match, and it's unsanctioned in the middle of the show. None of this shit makes sense. There's no rhyme or reason. This doesn't get MJF more over. And they're just doing it to entertain Tone and Dave. I swear.
Let's go God. 2 times crazier than anything they've ever done. For 45 minutes, 3 hours and 40 minutes into the show, and I was just like, when it was over, I was like so down on this when it was over because it just feels like they feel like they're as hot as they have been in years. And
I just disagree, buddy.
I just feel like
you guys just keep saying they're that hot when no one fucking thinks they're that hot. You're not hot, just get off at the pot. Tone.
Tony's always like right there, man. He's right on the cusp, and then he just can't help himself.
So I'm right. You blocked me for no reason. You're just stealing what I've said for the last fucking 3 years. Is that what's happening, Bri?
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
So we agree. So unblock me then.
Let's go till 12:30.
No, it's better this way. It's better this way.
On a work night and a school night with this ultra-violent that even Paul Heyman would be like, whoa, brother, pump the brakes, dude. This is way too crazy.
Yeah, man. See, literally the ECW
like
thing too, bringing up ECW because it's like some of the craziest shit that everyone agrees that's too crazy that happened in ECW was like out of Heyman's hands, like New Jack carving people. I was like, what is he supposed to do? Teleport instant transmission in front of the blade and save New Jack or onto the scaffold and save him from hurling a guy off it and going, I was trying to kill him, you know? You can't really control that. So even some of the most hardcore shit in ECW, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Some of the dives Heyman could have not, but everybody ended up like Devon used to dive off some tall ass shit. His hips are fucked. That's a choice he made. Fucking Hogan's hips were fucked. RIP, and he was just hitting a leg drop in the ring. So, you know, that can happen numerous ways, right? He made his choices. This is people willingly doing shit that is going to just end up bad, and everyone's going to go, told you so. They talk more about AEW feeling like a hot promotion, Brian. Hot, top, hot, Brian. It's not hot. I mean, it's a hot promotion. It's not. It's hot right now. It's not hot, Brian, but it's hot right now.
Long term, you're crippled the character because he's a top guy, and you know the idea that he can never challenge for the title, or you can just rescind the stipulation.
And that's what Tone already did. Tone was like, it's just a gentleman's agreement. Okay, so and again, I heard fucking rumors a long time ago. Who knows if any of this shit is true?
Allegedly.
That was a point of contention. Tone wanted to go back on that with Rhodes. Tone wanted him to eventually go back on that you'll never win the AEW world title thing, and Rhodes was like adamant not to. And then when the fans kind of turned on Rhodes, that was kind of thrown in his face. You know what I'm saying? Now that's all hearsay. I'm not a dirt sheet, and that's like an old ass rumor.
But then you just become like WWE. It's like, then why even do stipulations? Because no one's going to believe in them anymore. So I thought that was a lose-lose, but I've said that from the day the thing happened. At the same time, I do want to say I think this is one of the best shows they've ever done. The match quality was through the roof. I mean, maybe the best match quality of any pay-per-view they've ever done.
Best in-ring quality. Okay. All right. So Dave puts nothing on selling and shit. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe people were selling their asses off. I won't knock anybody selling, but in-ring wise, I don't know. It all blends together. That's the fucking problem. So the Dynamite before this show that Dave attended also had the best in-ring quality, best 3 matches he's ever seen in a building. Fuck.
Just incredible matches, and the surprises, and good moments and bad moments, and a hot crowd, and they felt, like I said on Wednesday, they felt like a very hot promotion.
They got tired. Now, they were hot at the beginning, the first 90 minutes, 2 hours, but after that, the crowd sort of got exhausted. They were in there. They were locked in for the show, but they definitely tapered off a little bit as far as energy. You could tell, you could feel it. You could absolutely feel it.
I mean, before, they were a promotion that had a lot of good wrestling matches that were hot, but the overall promotional vibe, I would not call hot. And
see, Dave is listen to his shitty assessment of AEW. Before, they had matches, but the promotion wasn't hot. But now it's like they have good matches and AEW itself is hot. Dave, it's the exact opposite. Okay? AEW is not hot at all. Some of these matches, people are like, fuck yeah. Like, even me. I fuck with Mox and Takeshita even. I fuck with Hangman MJF. Not that match they did. I love Tekla. I like Statlander. So we fuck with the matchups. In the beginning, it was like, oh, healthcare. Oh, for the wrestlers. Oh, yeah, Rhodes, Jericho, the Bucks, Omega. We can see what they can do in America. AEW. That was the vibe of AEW. Oh, man, Punk returned to wrestling in AEW, man. AEW. That was the vibe, dude. It was like, holy shit, AEW, man. They're going to they got this. They're doing the damn thing. Now it's the opposite. Now it's like, oh, AEW, fuck. Yeah, I guess I'll watch that match. Yeah, Bandito Andrade is pretty cool. It's just Dave saying this because he's trying to sell TV companies or something. Meanwhile, he spurgs out and fucking mutes TV executives and agents who try to school him on game. Christ in heaven, Christ on a cracker. I don't know what else I can say, but Dave, you're just definitely saying the opposite of everything that's true always.
Before, they were a promotion that had a lot of good wrestling matches that were hot, but the overall promotional vibe, I would never call.
No, fuck, dude. When Danielson and Cole showed up and shit, it was like AEW, dude. They have all these good wrestlers, fucking Bryan Omega. It was like the wrestlers and the pay-per-views all in, dude, all in one, fucking ruled, man. Oh, they got all in now. Double or nothing. That's like they're all in, dude. Oh, all out. They're going all out for all. You know what I mean? It was that the vibe was like, I knock this all the time. They have no identity anymore. It's like they're just one of the feds featured. AEW is like one of the feds featured on this show that has all these other feds featured on it and their titles and shit and their wrestlers. That's what AEW felt like for so long. Now, I do give them credit. They've been locking in and focusing more on their core guys, but I just disagree with Dave here. I think it's the complete opposite, man. When they would run TV specials and their pay-per-views, they meant something at the beginning. They had unique stage designs. Remember when Omega hit the not the Omega Driver, the one-winged angel off of the fucking thing through the poker chip and all that shit? They had an identity, dude. AEW was hot as shit. The stages look kind of, well, I mean, they weren't all hits, but they tried to make everything look cool. Now it's like WWE light. The venues look just like LED boards, just the same screen from Dynamite with a new logo on it, a new apron. That's it. Nobody's trying anymore. The elaborate, like, big PLEs, but I'm talking like Raw, SmackDown, some of the fucking PLEs as well. They don't go as big for, but they're also big sellouts in WWE, so you got to give them that. But AEW, they don't even try anymore with the set designs. So the identity used to be there. Now it's not. Dave's saying the opposite.
I would not call hot. And now, I mean, you could tell from the opener and throughout the show, this was a crowd that saw this as something really hot. They were into pretty much everything.
Okay. So that's your takeaway, B, as Brendan Shaw would say. So here is the feedback that Dave's getting. Ready? And this shit pisses me off more than anything. Dave goes, the general consensus, the best show ever. Everyone, the best show we ever saw than a shorter show. The feeling was everyone. Our polls say everyone thought the award show, not the award show, the Wrestling Observer Awards were spot on. Everyone thought this show was the very best ever that it's ever been. Dave, stop. You live in a bubble. If you're talking about just AEW fans, I doubt every one of them. And I know if you want to say in general, from the people I've polled, what I saw online and the people in the building, if he was there, was Dave at the pay-per-view too? I'm not sure, but it's like, how do you know? People DM Dave things. He tweets it out. Oh, can I get someone to report to me on matches? So how the fuck do you know if you weren't there? And if he was there, everyone, did you poll every person? How do you know half the people didn't think it was too long and it stank? And Dave keeps saying this with the Observer Awards. Everyone agrees we got it spot on. So when you say everyone agrees you got it spot on, you're not talking about like you and your people who are voting on it and all of this, because they already agree with you. When you're saying everyone, you're talking about everyone else. No, am I wrong? Like, this is how fucking normal people, as Dave describes them, would interpret this. You're talking about everyone, so like everyone, meaning me all the way to you, Dave. And that couldn't be further from the fucking truth. So he likes to speak in absolutes when he's a dumbass. Here's Dave's the general consensus on fucking what Revolution was when it got clowned so fucking hard online. And then he's going to lie about the pay-per-view numbers. And I got a couple DMs while we were on the air to add to him lying about the pay-per-view numbers.
The general consensus of people live, they thought it was the best show that they had ever seen. Others thought it was among the best shows they had ever seen.
How do you know that? So he polled people and they went, this is the best show I've ever seen. And then everyone else went, it's among the best shows I've ever seen. It's among us, Brian. Do. Right? What are you talking about?
It was exceedingly well reviewed from the people who were in the building itself. And everyone did mention the length, but at the end of the day, the feeling was that.
So everyone mentioned the length of the show. No, like, this is Dave rationalizing it in his own head, then attributing it to everybody. That's what he does all the time.
We'd rather have the best show we ever saw than a shorter show. There is a happy medium. There are ways you can do both. I do not know why.
So was it the best show you've ever seen, or do you wish it was shorter? It can't be both, Dave. You're just making things up. And then you say this to give people talking points so that they can go fucking around parroting the bullshit you say. And this even happened with the Ricochet thing, where he's like, man, do you know that, he hated on Sandy and her MS. And then he's like, do you know the death threats and the hate we get every single day? And it's like, all right, but she didn't do that. And then you saw these sicko accounts going, she harassed his family and his wife and sent death threats. No, she never did that. She's an elderly woman with MS who said his acting was bad. And it is. You can tell by his fucking apology. So Dave does this. He says this, and then just dumb fucks who can't think for themselves go and repeat this shit.
that they don't start these shows an hour earlier, especially on a Sunday. I mean, you can argue on a Saturday.
No, you don't start the show an hour earlier, stupid. You fucking cut off 6 matches and give people, and you cut off 2 of the returns and 4 of the matches. And then you fucking give people something to watch on Dynamite that ties into the overarching storylines. Huh? Imagine that.
That in reality, these shows do not end as late as boxing shows and UFC shows end for Saturday night shows. And so the idea is like, it's good enough for everyone else. Or West Coast baseball games, if you're watching on the East Coast, end much later. There's NBA games, the West Coast game that ends late. I mean, most people just like loved it.
This isn't NBA. This is a scripted television show. So this isn't the NBA. This isn't UFC, Dave. This isn't football. This isn't any of the things you compare to. It's professional wrestling. Why can't you study and learn the business? I don't get it, man.
Learn, baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
Almost everything on the show. The main event match, obviously, very polarizing. You know, it's going to be. It's going to be people who are going to love it.
So the main event was polarizing, which doesn't mean it can't be. Like, for instance, The Rock and Hogan was polarizing for reasons that made sense. But polarizing because it was like, no, I like Hogan. No, I like The Rock. No, he's an icon. No, he's the legend. Right? It's like Superman fighting Batman. It was polarizing in that way. Whereas this match was polarizing because why, Dave? Because some people might think they took it too far and it was a little too grotesque. And even Bryan Alvarez is like, what the fuck? But somehow you extrapolate that this was the greatest show of all time. So this was a polarizing match because it was gory. And some people didn't like that. And it was maybe too long of a show. And many people were tired and thought it was too long. But it was also the greatest show of all time ever because you say so. Okay.
But there's going to be people who are going to hate it. There were...
Okay, Unc.
Everyone, I would say, that gave anything less than a super positive review, if they gave it a thumbs down or a thumbs in the middle, and there weren't many, but those ones who
there weren't many who gave. So Dave is sitting there pretending like he fucking showed up. It's Squid Games. In order to leave, you must cast your vote, right? And then there's like a thumbs up, a thumbs in the middle, and then a thumbs down. Nobody really voted thumbs in the middle. On what? On the poll on your website, you fucking mark? So your listeners,
fucking mark,
that Brian felted you with when he called out how the pay-per-view numbers are bullshit. Dave's trying to say that the pay-per-view numbers, well, we're going to get into all of that, but he's like, we polled people. Brian's like, we polled people on our site and they say they buy every single pay-per-view. Dave's like, nope, the numbers indicate they're all rotating and it's groups of 4. So there's like a million AEW fans out there who buy pay-per-views, but they just take turns one at a time, or they rotate in groups or whatever the fuck he's trying to convince people of. He's cooked. It's cookie mode.
I would say that every single one, it was not because of the length of the show. It was because of the main event. Now, the people who loved the show.
And then Dave is sitting here saying that everyone he polled or everybody he had write down with a pencil on their way out of the building, now he's telling them what he's attributing a reason to their thumbs in the middle. I'm telling you that it was all because of the length of the show, not because of the main event. How do you know that for certain? You're just making things up what you want it to be and then saying it.
Many of them loved that match. So like I said, it goes both ways. You know, evidently
goes both ways, B.
It was like this all-time great show if you were there live.
An all-time great show if you were there live, but you polled the people and there were a bunch of thumbs in the middle and there were a bunch of people who didn't like it and said that it was because the main event was gory and the length of the show. But it was also the all-time greatest show you've ever been.
You know, poor people don't like AEW.
This is who people like defend and shit. I just don't get it, you know? It's crazy. It's so funny to just milk this fool for lulz. This cow for lulz, dude. It's way too funny. So on the topic of Revolution, you know, Ospreay returned, and here's Dave's take on that because, you know, he's going to sweep for that as well.
So we had a Will Ospreay video package. He made his surprise return, hits the full twisting moonsault to the floor, almost smashes his head on the freaking apron as he's doing it. He's back, man. He's out of his mind. He's out of his mind.
I hope he knows what he's doing. Him just coming back and doing the visual was enough. He needs this.
So WWE's good, and it's not infant slop, and Dave's begging for whatever, and it just proves that Ospreay can't embrace the grind, and he has to rest on his laurels and just do crazy ass flips to get over. Even his return, he has to do a crazy ass flip and almost land headfirst on the apron, because that's how he gets over. And he rushed his return when they don't even need him for 3-4 months. And he's not even in crazy good shape. He looks to be physically, not to body shame him, but he looks in worse shape than he did before he came back. And that's not like, I'm not shitting on him. You know, he's an incredible athlete and all these things. I put Ospreay over enough, but like, come on. Now Dave is sitting here just like, oh, he doesn't need to know anything. He doesn't need to know how to get over. He can just, before Dave actually said that he doesn't need to do flips and shit. He can just rely on like slowing it down and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, then are you still going to give him 5 stars? Because he doesn't sell as good, can't slow a match down as good as Roman or Orton or he doesn't sell better than a fucking Drew, for instance, or any of these guys. So like, what are we talking about? And yeah, he just has to do these goddamn flips. And now Dave's like, oh, I hope he knows what he's doing. Yeah, he's doing this to get 5 stars from you, idiot. I hope you know what you're doing, Dave, because you were doing this to him.
Just don't want this reoccurring.
You're the reason Tone's giving this guy $1 million to do this shit, and he might fucking wreck his brain and his neck. I don't know if WWE would have cleared this guy.
Thing, all in, felt like pushing it, right? But doing, like, showing up, cool. When they played his music and he showed up, even if he just ran down there and chased him away, I mean, that's fine. But he did a lot of physicality, and
he did a full twisting moonsault off the post of the floor.
I know.
God.
I mean, do you think anyone thought he would do that this week? I mean, in January, he couldn't do anything, like literally anything.
So they're rushing him back, and they want us. This is the problem too, and I'm just calling it out. And again, this goes back to me saying like Ospreay's not super jacked up or anything. This is why what I'm saying is important, and especially in 2026. Okay, bro? This is a really fair criticism, but it's a really real criticism. I don't think anybody else is going to point out. Dude, they're all like, he's a Super Saiyan. He came back. He was in the fucking hyperbolic time chamber and came back, and he's like fucking, he's the super specimen who rushed his recovery. If they're saying he's a Super Saiyan in the fucking hyperbolic time chamber, he speed ran his recovery. We don't see that in his physique. We don't see that in how he works. He just fucking flipped off of a fucking thing like he always does. His physique isn't crazy. His fucking delts aren't crazy. He's not looking like $1 million. He doesn't look like John Cena when he speed ran that fucking Rumble recovery. We're not seeing any of that. So pretty much it just looks like this guy rushed to get back to the ring when he doesn't need to do that. Dave's admitting, oh, he couldn't even do anything, Brian, 6 months ago. And he couldn't even do anything. He couldn't do anything in January, literally anything. And now he's like flipping through the air already, having a match on Dynamite. Granted, it was like a squash match, more or less. You look at the fact it's like All In's coming up in how many months? You could have still waited. You could have told him, no, Ospreay. If Tone was like a real leader, like a real fucking guy.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
Tony Khan could have been like, stay at home. We don't need you for another month or two. Tony, speaking of speed running, Tony Khan speed run rushes the booking for every fucking thing he does. He just crams it in last minute, seemingly. So why didn't he just wait to have Ospreay on the fucking card when they needed him in like a month or two and then build up to it? Why not give him more time to recover? In 2026, it's not like I'm body shaming the guy, but it's like, dude, you can buy over-the-counter shit that would be banned in UFC, that isn't bad for you, that isn't a performance enhancer even. It's just shit. Listen to Joe Rogan, okay? You get on that fucking alpha brain. No, I'm joking, but all I'm saying is this, dude. You can like get really jacked up and juicy and make it look like this return, like you're a machine. You come back and you're all jacked up, like Kenny Omega did that too. I give Danhausen the same criticism. So this isn't like I'm just singling out Ospreay here. But they're like, man, he came back. He just powered through his fucking recovery. And we expect you to come out looking like Goku from the hyperbolic time chamber. You fucking don't, bud. You look the exact same. You actually look worse a little bit than you did. No one wants to see you die in the goddamn ring, dude.
6 months from neck fusion surgery. Like a lot of people can be normal.
Yeah.
But it's still supposed to be another like 6 months before the bone is fully healed.
Look at how Orton comes back every single time we see him. Yeah, his belly sticks out a little bit, but he fucking comes in juiced up and jacked up. And it's not the 80s where you just stick fucking needles in your ass to do steroids. It's not like that.
So being out here and doing all of this stuff, I don't think this is a necessary risk, but it's what he's going to do.
I am not his doctor. I don't know what his doctor told him. I don't know how well he's healing, even though I keep up with him. It is amazing what he did. Of course, I wish he didn't do it because he doesn't need to. On his first time, all he needed to do is show up and get the pop and nothing else. Yeah, I'm sitting here screaming at the TV, what are you doing? But if you just want to look at it from an entertainment standpoint and you don't care about his health, he was awesome. I mean,
if you don't care about his health, he was awesome. Listen to fucking Dave one more time.
He didn't do it because he doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to do it. Yeah, he needs to do it. He needs to, and he knows that, or he's just scared to try anything else. And the reason I say this shit is because I'm challenging Ospreay. Like, if you're about it, go to the Fed. Prove you can do it at the highest stage, man. It's just that simple. Otherwise, okay, cool flip. You just talked about the flips Bailey was doing.
First time, all he needed to do is show up and get the pop and nothing else. Yeah, I'm sitting here screaming at the TV.
So it's bad psychology. It's bad psychology.
What are you doing? But
what are you doing? We need that for the soundboard.
First time, all he needed to do is show up and get the pop and nothing else. Yeah, I'm sitting here screaming at the TV. What are you doing? But if you just want to look at it from an entertainment standpoint and you don't care about his health, he was awesome. I mean, seriously, he was awesome.
So Dave marking out again. I'm like, okay, dude, this guy might hurt himself. And then Dave's just like, oh, well, if you don't care about any of that like me, Bryan, then who gives a fuck? He can just car crash his body. It fucking ruled. Season so it. And then he sits there and pretends like, oh, it wasn't good that Moxley, the veteran, dumped Fletcher on his head, but 5 stars. It's like, you and Tone reward this shit. You don't care. You admit it then. You don't care about their health. You just want to see wrestlers do flips and then die in the fucking ring, wrestle till they collapse. Will Ospreay claims he'll modify his style.
What's the update?
First thing he does is a Phoenix splash. He does a red arrow off the top or whatever. Fucking liar. And not only that, Dave is like, he'll still be one of the best guys if he does modify his style. Nope. No, he won't.
Liar!
No, he fucking won't.
On Will Ospreay claims he was cleared. Doctors gave him the okay to return February 25th.
Yeah, he's cleared.
And
he's cleared, and hopefully he's careful. He is going to modify his style.
He is?
He is, yeah, he is. That's what he said. Yeah.
I'm sure he said that, but I mean, I watched his return.
Yeah, he went
I'm
crazy.
not sure he can help himself. Like, I'm sure he believes, I'm not calling the guy a liar. I'm sure 100% that he believes that his plan is to, like, alter his style.
Well, he did.
But I watched his return.
Well,
I'm not sure he can help himself.
Dave, let him finish.
To a degree, yes. To a degree, for sure, yeah. But I also saw him alter his style after Jericho talked to him. And he became.
No, he did. I saw him alter his style. No, buddy, he didn't alter his fucking style. He just did a couple less top rope maneuvers, maybe. But he has never altered his style. It's the exact same, Dave. You're not seeing anything we aren't. Okay? And he can't sell. So now he's not getting the 5 stars from you. Now Tony's less impressed. Alter his style. I mean, it'll still be physical and crazy and better than anyone in the world. Why? Because he's still going to do dangerous shit like this. Not that you can't ever do dangerous shit like this, but Mike Bailey already does this shit, so why do that to get over? And we know Ospreay doesn't sell. He doesn't pace a match. The psychology behind his shit, even his return. Look at the way he was booked on Dynamite. A quick match, gets jumped and beat up, and then the Bang Bang Gang make their entrance, and then he jumps and beats up a guy and runs off. Everything has zero psychology and isn't formatted well and isn't booked well with him so far. Since his return. It's just as bad as it was before he left. Literally the same shit. It's the same type of like wonky. Is it over? Is it not? He's going to grab the mic and make an impassioned speech in the next like week or two. Watch. And he's going to go back to that. And he's going to be like, bro, if I am AEW, bro. He's going to do that in like a week or two because people are going to criticize that last Dynamite shit, Dave. And it's like, even if he mods his style, he's not, so he's going to get 3-star matches from you, or he's going to have to rely on doing the fucking flips. Because if he tries to go Roman Reigns pace, he can't do that as good as Roman or Orton. Look at Orton's pacing in the fucking chamber. How he just came in, like literally fucking just where he was, where everyone was for him to, operating on that level. Can Ospreay do that and be over like Orton, where he hits the comeback? He just comes out of the pod, hits the comeback, they go into the finish pretty much. No, Orton did a couple more things than that, but it was like pretty much that, right? He just does this fucking clothesline, power slam, fucking double DDT. They go into the fucking finish pretty much. It's like, and the crowd was just there for it. Oh, going nuts. Can he do it at that level? That's what should get Orton 5 stars. That's the worker. When I talk worker, you got to be able to do that too. You know what I'm saying? Anyways.
I'm a much better wrestler when he did. Hopefully, he wrestles smart, because I mean, like, athletically, he's still, I mean, like, he went out there. That's where I don't know if it's his, I mean, I'm sure he's
I don't know if
hopefully, he wrestles smart, because I mean, like, athletically, he's still, I mean, like, he went out there. That's where I don't know if it's his, I mean, I'm sure he's trained.
Let's go. Oh my God, Dave, what are you trying to say, buddy?
Or, the young superstar, babyface, the former heel thing.
So first off, he goes, hopefully you wrestle smart. So meaning all the dumb shit you go, I'll clap like a baby for isn't smart. And yes, some of the things like high angle German suplexes and shit aren't that smart, but they're some of the coolest. Diving through an announce table isn't that smart, but it's one of the coolest things in wrestling. I get that. But taking it to this level where he's already squished his neck. People forget, man, he squished his neck already on the apron on like a Spanish fly in Japan and shit. And then he's doing the fucking tiger driver. They work it into an angle where it's like dropping people on their heads. And then he's doing doomsday devices to the outside on Collision, diving fucking doomsday device. And he's landing on his fucking head. Like, that's what Ospreay's been doing in AEW, buddy, since he's been there. So that's the dumb shit. Like, that isn't working smart. And that's what you're giving the 5 stars to, Dave. And I just need to point that shit out. Because again, and not to bury the Rascals, but they were in that Mile High Mayhem match or whatever. And the Rascals been doing the shit that they're doing in AEW. Dave wasn't going 5 stars, 5 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars. He wasn't giving them 5 stars. But they go and do it with the Bucks and AEW, and now it's 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. So you just love watching the Bucks do their little flip routine over and 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 over again, Dave. That's what that exposes. And just those little fucking things he says. Oh, hopefully you wrestle smart. Oh, so you're a dumbass. That's what I extrapolate from it.
Hopefully, he wrestles smart.
Dummy.
Because, I mean, like, athletically, he's still, I mean, like, he went out there. That's where I don't know if it's his, I mean, I'm sure he's trained in the ring the last couple of weeks.
Oh,
but I mean, what he did, I mean, it isn't just that he did that crazy dive, but the way he moves and everything like that, and that double kick and everything like that. I mean, he's just freaking fast and spectacular. And that goes a long way, so, yeah, I mean, I anticipate he'll probably be wrestling pretty soon.
And then he wrestled the next Wednesday on Dynamite.
What's the update on
How's
Will
Dave
Ospreay?
so spot on with this? Because Tone's talking to him. Tone talks. So also Dave had to cope over Ronda Rousey, who debuted at Revolution, while we're on the topic of Revolution. And this is a cope, and I'll tell you why, and he's saying strategic alliance. That sounds like an old NWA. I know I said it earlier, but it sounds like an old NWA faction. The strategic alliance, Bryan. And Dave here has to cope over Ronda because he's one of these guys that's like, Ronda isn't good for she talks crap, or maybe not good for the business ticket sales wise. He's always defended her in that aspect, but I do believe he's one of these guys that's like, oh, she's not particularly good and blah, blah, blah. She goes to Ring of Honor. She has a match. All the sickos are like, oh, she can actually wrestle. And she's just doing the same shit she does in WWE. And now he's talking about how she's a net positive for AEW, even though she calls it fake and phony. And also, unfortunately, Toni Storm's legit hurt. So now it's like Mina Shirakawa is going to be the one to fight Ronda, or she's stepping up in Toni Storm's place or something. I don't know. This has all gone awry. And you have Ronda Rousey here, and Dave uses the term strategic alliance. Strategy in what way? Hating on TKO? That's what it is. None of these idiots want to admit that because, again, Tony Khan's just marking out for her.
Guys, Tony Khan.
And none of them are going to admit this was a bad chess move here. And I'll tell you why. Because Ronda's currently competing directly with UFC and shitting on Hunter Campbell and these people. You just follow the food chain. Dana White, Ari Emanuel, Hunter Campbell, the Ellisons, fucking Trump, Elon Musk, all these motherfuckers. You follow that Paramount, okay? Now, I know that Ronda's fighting on Netflix. Netflix is in business with WWE too. That's totally fine. Netflix is in business with everybody. When it comes to Paramount and what they're going to do with AEW, so far, you have Tony Khan shitting on a bunch of people that are heavily involved and friendly with each other. And now you have Ronda directly shitting on Hunter Campbell, calling out Dana White, calling out UFC, calling out Hunter Campbell, all of these things. And Dave thinks that Tone could be like, oh yeah, well, if you fucking put AEW on Paramount or keep it on TNT, the Jaguars do it or else we'll take the Jaguars away. Jaguars. Like, what's the play, Dave? What do you think the play is that Tone could pull off where he could levy the NFL against the UFC and TKO and everything else they have going on? And the Ellisons and the relationship with Dana White and the TKO board and Triple H and all of these, Nick Khan. I always forget to mention him. Ari Emanuel, all of these people, dude, that Tony's like talked shit about flat out, called them all Harvey Weinstein, called people bald assholes, It's just craziness, man. He's such a he backed himself into a corner, and then Dave sits there and goes strategic alliance. She's shitting on TKO right now. So is that the strategy is let's shit on TKO because we're going to sneakishly get on Paramount when all things are said and done. They're going to renew us, and then we'll be alongside the UFC and everything. We're going to stick it to WWE. Because we're going to be on with the UFC. Like, what is the plan? None of it is good optics. Paramount gets a hold of you, then they just bury you and don't give a fuck, and you're on their streamer, and they just, is that what happens? You think they're going to do AEW lead-ins to fucking UFC fights? They did that before on Spike TV with TNA. It didn't turn out so well. I don't think UFC liked that. They didn't, in fact. They hated that because what they do is legitimate and shit. Yeah, I don't know why Dave keeps a strategic alliance. No, I think it's the opposite of that. It's strategic in that you're going to pop the news cycle a little bit, or you're going to get AEW virtue signaling fans mad at you because they're trying to cancel Ronda for past comments, and I literally have no idea what she even said. I don't even give a fuck, okay? At the end of the day, whatever the fuck she said, leave it alone. Like, I'm not for like Brian Kendrick talks conspiracies and then they cancel him because he fucking, even if it is insensitive, he's like, dude, I was like in my 20s then or whatever. I fucked up. I was a dumb kid. My bad. That's all it should take. Even with Ricochet, with the MS comment, he shouldn't be fucking like fired and banished and shit. Now, if that's the way they want to go with it, okay. If his rhetoric was like inciting violence or like he's on some Kanye West shit, okay, I get it, right? I understand why you might want to distance yourself from that. Totally. Otherwise, it's like, all right, man, people are entitled to their opinions or their fucking, or whatever she said. I don't even know what she said on some Trey Miguel shit. And again, it's just the reason why it gets brought up, though, and the reason why I have to bring it up is because, like, why is Trey Miguel gone? And Jay Briscoe wasn't allowed on TV, but Ronda's here, and it's just turning more and more of your fans off, and they don't realize that either. So we have to point it out, Anyways, here's the Strategic Alliance, which is the Death Riders' new faction name.
Ronda's got a big vendetta against TKO and UFC. It's good for them to have a strategic alliance, with her, because in the real world, I mean, whether wrestling fans like her or not, in the real world, her name carries a lot of weight. And if you don't think so, I mean.
And listen to how he talks about normal people. That's what he says about people who aren't in his bubble. In the real world, guys, if you listen to Dave, I implore you, like, take what I'm saying seriously right now. He thinks so little of you. He thinks he's like sitting in a bubble looking down at you guys, and he can like manipulate and influence and control your narrative. Like, he's Uatu the Watcher. Well, he's not really the Watcher. He does interfere. That's the problem. He's Uatu the Watcher, but like his code of ethics is the complete opposite. Right? Like he does intervene and try and fucking not meddle when it benefits him and his narrative, and then meddle when it does. Much like Uatu, when he does interfere, typically a greater cataclysmic event spawns off of it, and Dave ends up getting felted and roasted for it. Yeah, let's continue.
Sales for the fight. Answer your question, about in the right. Is she a draw? She's a draw right now, and even if she wasn't,
she's a draw right now. It's Ronda fucking Rousey, buddy. Like
with TV executives,
with TV executives. See, it's a sales pitch. It's him convincing dummies. So they go, and their 5 bot accounts all go, oh man, blah 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 blah, and he thinks he's gonna convince TV executives by having a bunch of sickos parrot this shit. Hey, how about if you welcomed casuals and your fan base didn't go fuck a casual for 6-7 years? More people would want to watch, and more casuals would watch, and then you wouldn't even be sweating it. Now the initiative is play it cool, man. Everyone play it cool. That's what Tone told Dave to do. That's what Tone told everyone to do. This is why he last minute is rolling out my AEW. He's last minute all of a sudden co-opting the media like harder than we've ever seen before, the dirt sheet media, shill media. It's so evident. It's never been more fucking evident than it is now. And yeah, this is all happening because it's not reactionary. All of a sudden he's trying to actually do something with Ring of Honor again, and he didn't do it before TNA got a TV deal, so he could try and get an ROH TV deal for what reason? And with the new studio with ROH, that means he locks in, actually has to guarantee these shows, because if my AEW gets rolled out everywhere, then he needs a reason to. He needs to put a shitload of content on there, and he has to give people a reason to make sure that they go there to watch shit. Like, it's so obvious what's happening right now. And yeah, Dave's a dummy.
And carries a lot of weight. I mean, WWE.
And I encourage it. My AEW is actually a good concept. He should have did that from the start.
I'm not saying she was the reason WWE got the SmackDown deal, but we all know that she was, I mean, when Fox was bidding for it, I mean, the 2 people they cared about the most were Ronda Rousey and Brock Lesnar. And that's years ago and everything. But in that world, I mean, she means a lot more than anyone else in AEW by far. So
just buries AEW, but that is a truth. Here's the only thing though, right? Ronda is like, yeah, she's a draw and she gets eyeballs and shit. But in AEW, we've already seen it online. And AEW fans are mostly, I would say, the online ilk, right? There's more casuals of WWE fans. So obviously in AEW land, there's more fans that are locked in on the net and whatnot. I don't know if this is going to play out. And I've said it before, like if John Cena went to AEW, maybe they'd hit 1 million again, but would they actually, maybe they'd hit 1 million again, but I don't know, man. I don't know if anybody went there, they'd be able to change perception. Like at this point, it's like TNA where Bobby Lashley can show up and okay, it's not going to do a whole heck of a lot of a difference for you. And you might end up on the Pop Network or whatever, Destination America or whatever, right? Yeah, I don't know if Dave's take is on with this.
She's around and has an affiliation. It's probably a positive for the company. I don't think she'll ever be around a lot. And, but if it's something here and there, would she help Marina? Probably. What happened with Shayna Baszler becomes interesting. I mean, it was maybe the big shock of the show.
It was maybe the big shock of the show. There you go. The shock master of the show. No, I'm just joking. I like Ronda. I'm not shitting on her like
Ronda's
most people are going to do. I actually think it is a good thing they got her in AEW, but they have to book it correctly. They never end up doing that. Speaking of not being booked correctly, Dave Meltzer, and this is his take after Dynamite. It relates to Revolution because it has to do with after Swerve's win over Brody King at Revolution, which I don't think was the right move. Here we go. Let's take a listen to this. And even Dave is confused by what Tone's doing.
I did not like this Dynamite at all.
Mm-hmm.
Dynamite has a promo with Kenny Omega where he says that Swerve is now the number one contender after beating Brody King.
Mm-hmm. And Swerve was not aware of this.
I was like, he's the what are you talking about? And then he challenges him to put the number one contendership on the line.
Right, because Omega's an EVP, and they forget this, and there's not even like a writer. I get it. People are like, the writers fucking ruin wrestling. Maybe I think kayfabe being dead is what hurt it more than anything, and writers are able to at least give you compelling week-to-week television. Like, you don't get the bloodline entirely without people pitching their ideas, and I'm sure somebody looking over it and punching it up a little bit, you know? And like them pitching ideas, they might come from outside the box, and I'm not saying writers should be as prominent as they were back in the day, and I think that sort of thing is less prominent. Like, if you want to believe Unreal, it's like Triple H, Heyman, Road Dogg, right? Like, it seems like people who kind of got their fingers on the pulse a little bit better or have been in the ring teaming up with guys who are at least pitching good ideas. This is all I'm saying. Even though Kenny Omega went on a spiel about how he is not an EVP and doesn't have EVP responsibilities and anything like that, now he's just like, I'm an EVP, so I'll just be the one to inform you you're the number one contender. Because why, chat? This is what we talked about earlier. Your boy Phil brought this up earlier. The GM. You need somebody in charge. Tony just randomly, when MJF asks him, because that's his little golden pony boy, okay, when MJF asks him, that's when he will pop on screen quickly and do a little segment. But at the same time, there's no authority figure, not even like Big Show, who's like, I'll just nuclear punch you out with my big right hand if anybody crosses the boss, and I'm running things and keeping order here in AEW. Nothing. They've never even tried anything like that. Tony Khan comes out when the Bucks want to pile drive him. Pause.
Line.
Yeah.
And then Swerve does his promo and goes, apparently I'm the number one contender.
He was not aware.
So
That was interesting.
Booker of the fucking year, buddy. Booker of the year. Booker of the year.
Okay, so if we're going by the idea that they do a match next week
for the number one contendership, the winner should in fact be getting the next championship shot. Yes.
So Swerve is losing.
Why should they be? There's no rankings. There's no records. No one explained this. There's no authority figure. Dave with his head cocked to the side, all flagrant. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, the little Valley girl prissy. Oh yeah, Bryan, I'm the authority figure. He's the authority on this. He's the GM. Dave Meltzer, the GM of Dynamite, or what?
This is great.
Oh my goodness.
One contendership that he didn't know he had to Kenny Omega.
Perhaps. I mean, if he loses, yeah, or he's winning and he's getting a title shot, one or the other.
Why didn't they just announce that next week they were going to have a match for the number one contendership, and then Swerve could say, "I wanted you to put your." Is that why they invented this number one contendership? Because now Swerve has to have something on the line
against Omega, having something.
Yes, because when Tone can't just give you a belt, and all the other belts that he promised people belts, every champion that he promised a belt to that has a belt, there's 13 belts, but instead of Swerve having a belt and having it mean something, or just being able to tell a fucking story, it's always just, this is on the line, this is on the line, this is on the line. Hangman, oh, my thing's on the line, because even their title doesn't mean enough to where his world championship's got to be on the line as well. Two things on the line. Now that works, but you're overdoing it. We just saw two things on the line, Hangman, MJF. Now it's two things on the line, Swerve, Omega, because it's the number one contendership. Or it's like, here's something on the line, pardon me, that fucking someone's got to have something on the line, even when it's just two guys with a fucking gripe against each other. So stupid. If you want the number one contender thing to mean so much to where Swerve, why did he dim the lights to talk about this? To make it all poetic, man.
On the line?
Yes. Because they just made this up out of thin air.
Yeah. Well, he did beat Brody King, and they were both going for the
Brody King was in the fucking tag division.
championship.
I know, but
They were going for the championship.
like on
But
Saturday,
it
why
was
was
not-
that not built
Brody's been in fucking squash matches. All he's been in is squash matches.
up as a number one contenders match?
I don't have any good reason for that.
Exactly.
I don't
So then stop defending it, Dave. Just say, I don't have a good reason. That's the end.
know. I mean, it could have been.
Did something change between last week and this week, and all of a sudden they realized they should have had that stip there, or like?
I don't know.
Instead of just, he always just cops out, I don't know. I didn't ask Tone. But you'll give everything 4 stars and be like, oh, the Booker of the Year, and help promote how Tone's the Booker of the Year because it's such a hot promotion. Just say, yeah, it doesn't make sense. This is like, I mean, the show is really bad. It just gets lost in the sauce.
He had Cuervo with him the whole time too.
But he can't do that, dude, because he's got to hype up how
I
good
did-
this all is and all. But Swerve and Kenny, they're going to have another banger, Bryan, because Kenny had to go to Japan. So Tone's brilliant booking was to have Swerve beat Brody King to get to Omega after Omega already fucking lost to Swerve or whatever the fuck before he went to Japan because he couldn't be on Revolution, when we could have just made him be at Revolution instead of at the Capcom Cup cosplaying like a cuck. Say that 3 times fast. And instead, Dave's just going to be like, I don't know. I did not. Let me ask Tone later, Bri. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should know these things, shouldn't I, Bri? So, so Dave Meltzer, man, he gets caught up lying. He's so caught up. Can't feel me. He's caught up. He's lying. Lying like Bryan about the fucking AEW Revolution ticket sales. So, Dave is like, did the stip draw? Yes. So he's putting it on the stipulation, pretending it's this big ass draw. What was the stip for Raw the following night in WWE if they're closing the gap? What was the stip that made Raw draw 3,000 or 4,000 more tickets than fucking Revolution did? And it's their weekly show and not a right? Did the stip draw? I don't know, Dave. How big of a draw was it? It was a good house for them now in this year. Is it closing the gap when they're this stip that drew less than a fucking Raw the next? I just don't know, man. I don't know. Both were school nights, buddy. I don't both were work nights, bud. So here's Dave talking about how good the ticket sales are and are going to be. Or I mean, not the ticket sales. Pardon me. Rewind that. Whoop, 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 whoop. This is Dave talking about how well the pay-per-view did. And then the estimations were, and I thought I had it goddamn bookmarked in here, Revolution pay-per-view buys. I thought I did. There was a number. We had a quote. So here we go. Yeah, that's bookmarked, and we'll just jump over here when it's time. So here's Dave Meltzer's take on it. I have a couple DMs I received while live on the air that fit perfectly with the narrative of this next little bit here. And also we have Dave Meltzer's quote on how many buys that he thinks it actually did. And I called out that this was going to happen. I also brought Switchblade's live tracking back in. I know we covered this on PWT Live Show. We're going to redo it. We're going to run it back like a Jey Uso Yeet entrance. We're going to run it back for this DMW here. So let's take a listen to Dave and his, I think this is just like a prediction at this point, or he cops to it being a prediction in one of these like screen grabs I got over here that I'm going to show you guys. Either way, let's dive in. We are going to catch Dave red-handed, more or less, or just ignoring Google Trends, not studying the business when it comes to how these pay-per-view buys work and whatnot. And Dave also just inflates these, how many pay-per-views were sold, like we knew he was going to do. So here we go.
It's a bunch of stuff from AEW as far as that pay-per-view goes. I mean, I don't have any numbers right now, but it did pretty good, like really good. Did the stip draw? Yes. Did it probably draw because Cody never violated it. Probably helped. People probably thought it was serious.
For those of you that think that they're going to abide
So he's talking about Rhodes?
by the stipulation and that he is never going to challenge for the title again, I don't know what to tell you, but
So, like, listen, man, they are just they're admitting that Tone's a bad booker this whole time, right? Because Tone wanted to go back on that stip. That's why they're running it back right now, like a Jey Uso Yeet entrance one more time. And that's why I'm running that one-liner back again as well, okay? He's running it back because he is going to have Hangman break that shit. Rhodes didn't want to break that shit. Dave's saying it fucking Drew McIntyre, it Drew, because Rhodes didn't break that stip. And now Bryan Alvarez is like, oh yeah, he's going to break that stip, obviously. And it ain't going to fucking
best
draw.
guys, Tony Khan.
And they're just admitting what everybody tried to point out like fucking 4 years ago. When did Rhodes leave AEW? 4 years ago at this point now? Like, people tried to point this shit out.
People probably thought it was serious.
for those of you that think that they're going to abide by the stipulation and that he is never going to challenge for the title again, I don't know what to tell you, but man, if you watch that show tonight and that MJF promo, I mean, they couldn't have told you more clearly without just telling you. He's breaking the stip. MJF is sitting there going, I'm 30 years old. I got 20 more years to be the best in the world. There was only one guy that could stop me from being the greatest of all time, and that is Hangman Page. And for 20 more years, he said, I'm going to be fighting for that legendary spot as the greatest of all time while you're stuck in the mid-card. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
They ain't sticking to this stip, everybody. I don't know how long it's going to be, but
It's going to be right when he comes back, he's going to turn heel again because Tone flip-flopped him because he can't ever just stick with anything. And that's why everybody has had more face and heel turns than the fucking Big Show in AEW.
he's fighting for that title again. What that means for any stip that's ever promised again, we shall see.
Yeah, and Dave will never, he'll never criticize it. But at the beginning, did the stip draw? That was more of a Bryan rant. We're going to get into the tickets here, okay? So we head over here, and this is what Wrestling Observer Radio had to say. Revolution pay-per-view buys did pretty good, Brian. It's certainly the best since All in Texas, and probably a decent margin. He's completely lying about this.
Would you please shut the hell up? Liar!
So Dave says All in 2025 did 180,000 to 185,000 buys. AEW's highest buy rate since then is 140,000, which suggests that Revolution drew between 140 to 180 buys. How? How does it suggest that? How does it suggest that at all, Dave? Can you explain that? Read the Observer. How? How does it mean that? So it's the best since All in 25. So it means it did between 140 and 180,000 buys. That's actually fucking nutty and insane. And people's streams and shit were crashing out. Triller was crashing out. HBO Max crashed out. Dave's lying again. Just like when he added the 30% on Amazon. Remember when Amazon had to refund all those fucking, or on Prime, right? He was on there. Yeah, and they had to refund all those fucking pay-per-views. Dave's lying through his goddamn teeth with this. Now, how do you know that, Phil? You might be asking. Go. Let's head over here to Switchblade, who posted this, and he tracks this, and this matters. Now, Dave, again, he likes to look at the TNA, YouTube, Google trends. YouTube is Google. He likes to look up the TNA and the UFC trends. And, it's interesting. It should be noted, but it comes to AEW, and he never looks these up ever. Now, YouTube pay-per-view, pay to watch for AEW Revolution, right? You're in the chat. There's 1,900 K, 10 million K bajillion, 1,900 people, 1,900 motherfuckers watch, paying to watch this in YouTube's live chat or whatever, right? Like you're not just sitting there. I don't even think you're allowed in the chat if you don't pay to watch the pay-per-view. So they're sitting there watching this pay-per-view on YouTube, right? 1.9K people. And the Google Trends align with this. Switchblade tracks this. He will go in after. He probably already posted it. I didn't even see it because I don't even need to see it because I know what happens. We've done this enough times. The Google Trends match and all this shit as far as like what's trending and shit. Switchblade wrote this, AEW Revision, which he corrected himself and said was a typo, but that's hilarious that it typoed to Revision for Revolution because that's what Dave's doing. AEW Revision currently has 1.9K people watching the live pay-per-view on YouTube. This would be equal to World's End, but way down from Forbidden Door last year, which peaked at 5.2K live viewers. At best, based on past trends, I'd expect it to grow at most by 100 to 200 viewers at most. That's what Switchblade said. Now, he was on with this. In fact, it grew a little bit more than that. That's what she said. Right? And he gives it credit for that. But he tracks it, so it goes up to 2.1K. Now, remember, Forbidden Door, which Dave isn't even bringing up, 5.2K live viewers last year on YouTube. So the YouTube viewer, and remember, YouTube it's the most dominant streamer, even for Nielsen, it has the most market share and shit. We've looked at all the charts and graphs. I can't go over them all. We've already done this over and over and over. HBO Max is the very, very, very bottom, WBD. It's before other with the lowest. Then you have Netflix and YouTube dominate. And YouTube even dominates Netflix. So it went up to 2.1K. Then it went up to 2.2K. Then it went up to 2.4K and peaked at 2.4K. Forbidden Door peaked at 5.2K. So on the largest streamer pay-to-watch pay-per-view fucking platform in the world for AEW, that AEW could, where they have the most reach to people and all this shit, Forbidden Door peaked at 5.2K live viewers. Double. More than double. I think when I put my tweet out as well, I said almost double. It's more than doubled the live viewers in the YouTube chat or in the YouTube pay to watch. Now, does this mean on HBO Max the pay-per-views weren't through the roof for Revolution? I don't know, but nobody can fucking prove that, and that's why we look at this shit that we can prove. Do you guys get it? You guys get what I'm putting down here? You dig what I'm saying? So this peaked at 2.4K viewers on YouTube. So where would any indication, unless HBO Max and Prime and all of these Triller phone up Dave Meltzer and tell them, oh, it did better than All In and all this other shit? How the fuck would he know? There's no way he would know. But he can look at Google Trends when it comes to TNA, and when it comes to UFC, he doesn't look at Google Trends when it comes to this shit. He doesn't look at YouTube Trends when it comes to this shit. To AEW, because it completely destroys his narrative. Now, remember that one gentleman, and we showed that chart on the show, where AEW's conversion rates every year are fucking funky and wonky, and Dave's for pay-per-views, and they're higher than the Attitude Era when pay-per-view was fucking pay-per-view. And Dave, however he does these adjustments, it doesn't even make sense. It's out of whack, and not just because they're inflated, but because some years they're inflated, then some they're way lower. It just doesn't even make sense, but they're all higher than the Attitude Era. It's nutty, man. It's loopy. So he doesn't even look at this shit. So let's do a little science experiment here, okay? Phil Nye, the science guy. So AEW, I Googled this. I did this on PWT live shows. How many pay-per-view buys did AEW Forbidden Door 2025 do according to Dave Meltzer? So 122,000 to 130,000. That's what Forbidden Door last year did in pay-per-view buys. And the YouTube analytics, the peak on YouTube, the number one fucking streamer, more than double the people were in for that show than they were for this Revolution show. What is Dave saying over here? Oh, this one did between 140,000 to 180,000 buys?
Liar! Liar! Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
What's going on, man? How? How do you just make this shit up, Dave, and live with yourself? So he's floating out there 180,000 or to 140,000. Meanwhile, a show that trended twice last year. So they were on all the same shit. They were on Max, they were on fucking Prime, they're on Triller, they're on everything. And now all of a sudden this one did 40 to 60,000 more buys, Dave. And the attendances are less, and year over year they're fucking.
Are you
less.
sure about that?
Fuck, man. And the only time things like this that are questionable that come up, it's Dave talking about pay-per-view numbers or streaming conversion numbers that the NBA don't even do. So it's like, you're cooked. We got you. So somebody sent me these. This was sent to me, Cultaholic, this courtesy of Cultaholic. Well, the exact numbers are currently unknown. Revolution 2026 was All Elite Wrestling's best pay-per-view buy since All In 2025. Meltzer reported on Observer Radio that Revolution's buy rate was really good, saying, I don't have any numbers right now, but it did pretty good, like really good. It's certainly the best since All In, and probably by a decent margin. So he doesn't know numbers. He's just estimating it's 140 to 180 based off bullshit that doesn't make sense, based off his other bullshit. Like, this is cooked, man. This is fucking insane. He should not be allowed to continue doing this. So I'm going to pull up this other one here. And here's a screen grab that someone sent me. Let's take a look at this. This guy goes, Meltzer asking people what they think the AEW pay-per-view number is going to be, as if he isn't just going to make it up as doing a strong number anyways. Dave Meltzer tweeting out asking people for tomorrow's pay-per-view, do you think over or under 143K? So he's already sitting there like, oh, it's over 143K. That's like the basis he's starting with, because, well, it did as good as All In or whatever the fuck, which did between 140 to 180,000. So I'm just going to make up. And who told him that? They didn't trend that way on Google. And then it was called. This means he's going to report over 143K book market. And that's absolutely what he did. So he just makes up, oh yeah, anywhere from over 140 to 180,000 buys. And that's such a huge, large number. And it's like, how do you whittle this down? Now, we've done this where we've gone over Dave's pay-per-view buys, UFC pay-per-view buy predictions, and we've seen the trend where once the whole game changed and streaming and all this, everything changed, it just passed Dave by. His predictions were just way off. Whereas way back in the day, he'd have numbers. Now, who knows if he was just good at estimating? Who knows if he fucking had information? But the way things work now, there aren't people at Prime, Triller, WBD. They can't even get the weekly fucking ratings, but he knows the pay-per-view numbers. Tone goes, I don't know the numbers, but you have these numbers. He's just piling bullshit on top of bullshit. And that's why his card keeps getting pulled for it. Now, again, you can look at these YouTube trends. They're not the end-all be-all, but it definitely suggests the interest. It's fucking YouTube, man. It's YouTube. Guess what Joe Rogan just said? The biggest podcast in the world is how many fucking view it. You know, I think it does get beat now. I think some people do better numbers than him now, but just overall, it's like the most famous, well-known, recognized podcast, right? Is JRE. Joe Rogan just said on one of his most recent episodes, I think, I listened to him with Dustin Poirier. Joe said that he's like, obviously he's on YouTube. He gets like millions of views, right? And he said his pod is on Prime. And he's like, it gets no views. No fucking views at all. Now think about that. That's the biggest pod in the world. Now I know a pod's not wrestling, but what is Prime doing? Like, how Dave just added 30% when they added Prime. He admitted to doing it. I felted him for it multiple times. I had to re-bring it up a year later and prove that's what he did. And I don't believe now, it's like these numbers are based off of the 30% he added with fucking Amazon before. So like Prime isn't reaching out to him. WBD ain't reaching out to him. Nobody's reaching out to him and telling him the shit. It's just estimations based on trends other than the ones that you want to ignore, like YouTube. And YouTube is Google, buddy. So it's the biggest streamer, period. This had half of the fucking people paying attention to it on YouTube than Forbidden Door did last year. Forbidden Door, according to you, Dave, did 122,000 buys. I believe that means it did 85 to 95,000 buys at the most, somewhere in that range. And so that's inflated as well. And you're saying it did better than that. for some reason, or whatever or not that one, sorry, All In. You said it did better than All In, which that had more interest than Forbidden Door. But Switchblade is bringing up Forbidden Door just to show you, like, this show had double the interest. And Dave said this is the number it did. And I called it out. As soon as Switchblade posted this, I knew it. I was like, Dave's going to say this shit did like 150,000. He's saying 140 to 180. That's cooked, man. And meanwhile, and this is a clip we played on the last DMW Time Cop, Dave Meltzer was trying to convince Bryan Alvarez and everybody that last time, and Jim Cornette covered this, his and Brian last reaction to this had me fucking, I was laughing along with them. But Dave's trying to convince everybody that one AEW fan buys one pay-per-view per year. And it's because he's trying to keep up the fucking appearance as though there's like millions or over 1 million people that watch this shit and like AEW. And so he was trying to convince Alvarez, who wasn't even buying it, that there's like groups of 4 people, let's say, that just rotate. One person buys a pay-per-view every time. And I know that sounds retarded, but that's what he was trying to say. And even Brian was like, Dave, that doesn't make sense. And Dave's like, I've checked the numbers. And it doesn't ever occur to Wavy Davey, to Seltzy Meltzy, like, buddy, do you think you're just like wrong about something?
Poor people don't like AEW.
You don't even spell right or spell check your fucking thing using AI, your shit rag. And, you don't even say people's names right and shit. I don't know if maybe your math's off. You carried a 1 where you shouldn't have or something, buddy. I don't fucking know. But that was Dave getting exposed for AEW tickets. Or not tickets. I keep saying tickets because the whole conversation right now is like WrestleMania tickets, and it's just all the spurging everyone's doing online about like Revolution was a sellout, and it's like, buddy, you can fit 21,000 people in there or whatever. 21, you can fit however many people. Like, no, it wasn't a sellout. We got to stop playing this game, or we either have to play this game, we have to play it fully to where every company, if you sell out your setup, that's a sellout, or we just don't play that game at all. How about we just stop playing that game? And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week.
Poor people don't like AEW.
And that there's flutes in the chat.